Good afternoon, Jason Phillips from Appraise. I'm in Detroit today doing a pre-purchase inspection on a 1971 Chevrolet Corvette L48 reshot in a Cranberry Metallic, a really pretty color, not an original color to 1971. Automatic, power steering, power brakes, tilt, telescope, aftermarket stereo, and leather seats. Almost 22,000 Corvettes were built, 21.8 in 1971. About 7,100 and some change were convertibles. About 2,600 of them got built or ordered with auxiliary hardtops, and this doesn't appear to be one of them. Convertible canvas is in pretty nice shape. A little bit of age and wearing on the rear plastic window. Doors open and close nicely. I'll get the top down here in a minute to get a better view of the interior. Actually, I'll just get my flashlight out, that'll work better. Door panels show nice. By the way, if you need an inspection like this, 800-301-3886. This is a pre-purchase inspection for an out-of-state / out-of-country client. And he's going to get to view the video before we post it publicly. So if you're looking at this video, this car might already be sold to a buyer. Just to let you know, so you don't watch the whole video and get upset with me and leave not nice comments. Trim tag was removed during the repaint process and then re-fixed down there. K30 build date, first week in June. One of the first 100 cars built in June 1971, towards the end of the 71 production. This door panel's got a little bit of wear, as you can see at the corner. And this wood has been re-glued. It needs to be glued back down on the other side. A little bit of swelling going on. It's a pressboard piece. Rubber seals appear to have been changed, serviced already, all around the top and the doors. Original seat belts and shoulder restraints in 72. 72 seats are kind of interesting, offered in leather and vinyl. The earlier and the mid-year seats had seams going to the front to rear, and then very late leather seats had the seams going side to side. You would think, based on a June build, that this would have the other seats in it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it would get them. No cracks in that original dash pad, very little warping. A few stone chips in the, well, they're not really stone chips, but a few chips in the steering column. Carpet kit's been changed, mats have been changed, sill plate covers are original. No major fracturing going on that I can see in the bird cage. Nothing too obvious. One cool point to note, we got an original shatterproof windshield in place with no unusual stress cracks, some wiper rub marks, and a few little maybe stone splatters. But we've got, oh, I'm on the wrong side, that's right. Anyway, so no indication of stress cracks from a bird cage. That's a good sign. A little bit of dragging on the sill plates, nothing too alarming. Aftermarket cup holder was added. Standard 5500 redline tack was L48 270 horse motor. 3970010 cast. That was confirmed to be correct. Duntoff engraved leather wrapped steering wheel. Nice item. So we'll fire it up in a few minutes and get a look at the gauges. 100,417 miles. Looking at the pedal wear, doesn't really seem like that's abnormal. Those wires could stand to be talked with another zip tie. So the interior shows pretty nicely. The leather seat on this side doesn't show any rips or unusual wear. Door panel is in pretty nice shape on this side. We got a little bit of lifting on the wood insert trim. Fiber optic light setup. They eliminated this. I think 71 was the last year for it. I'd have to look that up, but I don't think I've seen 1 in 10 cars that had those operational. Aftermarket stereo fit nicely into the original opening. I'd have to do some disassembly work to pull the kick panels off in this car. There's actually no screws holding them in like there were in earlier models. But reaching up back there, I could put my flashlight up in the ventilation hole and feel up and reach underneath the plastic. You can pull it away from the floor. And I've got still photos of that work being done, and I couldn't really see any flakes of rust or see anything unusual, you know, coming out of the air vents of the birdcage area. Bows are in good shape. They're unrestored. Visors are in nice shape. All original. All of the storage compartment doors open and close and latch as they should. Aftermarket amp and speakers mounted in the back. Nothing too enlightening to see. There's some of that original Mulsanne Blue paint. I think that was the original color code on the car. Code 976. Car was taken apart nicely, completely detrimmed before it was repainted. Edge of that door panel shows slightly better, but that wood is needing to be glued back down. No big rips or scuffs on that door panel, nothing too exciting to see over here. A few small scuffs in the door jamb and on the sill plate, but presents about the same on this side. Trim code 403, that is black leather. That's correct for black leather. A little bit of motion in the seats, which is pretty common for a 100,000 mile car. Well, I got it up in the air before we take it out and run it. There's a lot of snow on the ground, so we're going to run it in the parking lot just a little bit and brake torque it. But the wheels have been repainted. Trim rings and caps, pretty nice shape with some light polishing marks is all, nothing too serious. A little bit of red inlay paint on the caps, looks nice. BF Goodrich radial TAs 225/70R15. They still have nibs present in the tread. 18 millimeters of tread. And I guess before I crawl my butt down below, we'll take a look at the engine bay and the motor. 3970010 cast is correct. Date code looked like F81, June 8, 1971. That works and makes sense. And the engine pad has its assembly date, Flint built motor 0621 CJK, correct for 270 horse, attached to a 400 turbo automatic. And then we've got a VIN number on the engine pad, corresponds to the VIN on the vehicle. So the engine VIN is the same as the vehicle VIN. Suspension wise, probably these control arms were rebuilt at some point. A little bit of dry cracking, but nothing too abnormal. Oil and trans sticks were pulled and swiped. Photos were taken. Fluids look nice and proper. Antifreeze is full and green. Tank looks good. Clutch fan is in good stiff condition. Original part numbers on the fan shroud. Up here in the front of the engine bay, there's no heavy cracking noted on either side of the inner fenders where the hood mounts. That's kind of nice. Aftermarket Edelbrock intake. Aftermarket Edelbrock carburetor with an electric choke was added. PVC hose was plugged off. Sending unit down there is no longer being used. Not sure what that's to. Aftermarket plug wires and distributor. Wiper squirters. The hoses are no longer attached. Power steering, power brakes are all stock style stuff. And generally speaking, other than the valve covers, very stock appearance underneath the hood. Somebody added a noise suppressor to the alternator, so perhaps the radio's a little quieter. Didn't see any obvious leaks, and down underneath I'll show you the bottom of the motor. It looks real clean. Suspension looks largely stock and original. A lot of original fuel lines, brake lines, vacuum lines, etc. But nothing too abnormal to report under the hood. Alright, here's where I start breathing a little heavy and scooting around underneath the car. Lower grills and bumper surrounds. Front bumper is in nice shape. Not sure about the plating. Plating's in really respectable shape. It doesn't look like it's been recently or freshly done. A few small hairline scratches and some general wear. The lower chin portion of the surround is not broken or damaged. Little hairline crack right there, but nothing too substantial. Control arms are in good shape. They don't look like they've been smacked or whacked, anything unusual. The lower cross member has a little bit of indentation from being lifted. Stock sway bar. Links have been changed. Frame rail extensions look nice, looking up. Bumper extensions look good, nothing unusual there. Suspension wise, all stock components. There may have been some rebuild along the way, though we got original riveted style upper ball joints, bolt-ins on the lowers. Spring pockets look like they're in pretty good shape, and left to right we have the same condition. There was nothing different noted left to right, so I'll save a little video time by sharing that. Lower core support, radiator support. Doesn't look like it's rotted out. Sometimes they rot out down low, and this one looks like it's in pretty decent shape. A little bit of deterioration in the sway bar bushings, nothing horrible, nothing I'd bother changing. You can see that the engine has been out of the car, presumably rebuilt, though no history that I can find or locate, though there might be some receipts available I wasn't aware of. Front main pan seal does not look like it's leaking, and that oil pan seal looks pretty new, doesn't it? Aftermarket braided lines on the fuel pump look like they're in good shape, and there's no wet oil on the pan. A little bit of seepage on the steering gear. Tie rod ends and dust shields have some grease buildup. They could stand to be cleaned up a bit. Aftermarket headers tie into an aluminized exhaust. Performance mufflers, but the floor tubs are in good shape. They got their original tin shields bolted on. I do want to show that from both sides. A little bit of surface rust up there on the frame, but the frame is essentially very solid for a non-frame off restored vehicle. And let me get my light out of the way. There you go. But no heavy oil or issues of leakage coming down from the top. Nothing's been wiped since I've been here, and it was started just long enough to put it up on the ramps. You can see an older stain right there on that header, and there's one there too, but they look pretty old and dry. I don't see any evidence of active fresh leakage. Long gone. Sliding under the mid-body. The frame appears to be in really good shape. Really no issues to talk about or report. Floor tubs look like they're in nice shape. No major physical damage seen. Original bushings in the rear control arm mounts. Exhaust ported through the frame nicely, aluminized. A turbo 400 transmission pan, 2 holes in the cutouts, and no active leaking that I could see. Of course, we are on carpet, but nothing super damp or super wet. And the dog legs on both sides, the splash areas look nice and solid. Nothing really to report. Stock rear end, standard transverse multi-leaf. Rear body support bushings are still in nice shape. No evidence of cracking or smashing or deterioration from a collision. Rear frame rails and the rear tail panel support all look very nice. Any possible repair work done back here seems like it was done efficiently. Sway links, or the Spring bushing links look like they're in good shape. Standard non-adjustable lower control arms. I said control arms earlier. I meant trailering arms. Those arms ahead of the axle. So hopefully my critics won't scold me too deeply for that. Tail panel support looks like it's in nice shape up there. Spare is in the well. Still got some arch to that spring. Rear axle housing does not appear to be actively leaking. Car's been blocked out pretty nice down the straights on both sides, and the door lines are really nice. Doors close super easy. It's got some fingerprints on them. There's a few hairline cracks and scratches. Let's go through them. Before I get up off the ground, let's take a final look. Correct rectangular tips on the exhaust. Performance mufflers. They sound good. I've only heard them for a second. But everything on this side of the car looks the same as the left side. Although 71 production was slated to have amber lenses, a lot of the 71s have clear lenses with amber lights. This car actually has the amber lenses. Next time you're looking at a 71, take a peek and see what you see there. This is an exploded view of the vehicle. This basically helps outline for the prospective buyer the small nicks, chips, scratches, flaws, etc. that can be seen from what I've seen. So I'll turn this. So a few hairline cracks, some small dots, swells, some shrinkage in the bonding strips, which is pretty common. You can see the bonding strips usually on the front and rear of unpainted Corvettes often, and then repainted. Sometimes they get blocked out, but in this case there's a few other marks and whatnot. Now before I drop the hood, the floor of this place is at 66 and the engine is at 71, so that's about room temperature in here. So regarding paint and body flaws, there is a hairline crack right here on the edge of the surround. There are still photos to help show it better. Coming down the side of the car, again a hairline crack here and here, not much bigger than the width of my finger, and then one here. From a short distance they don't really show up. The hood sets nice and flat and the headlight buckets set very nice and flat. No real major flaws to talk about coming down the car further. And then we begin to see the subtle line of the bonding strip, the kind of the shrinkage through the paint down here. Can you see that? Right there. Now there may or may not have been some repair to the back of the car. It's a small swell right here and a small swell here and here. So it's possible that there's been some repair work done. I would have to say it was probably more cosmetic than anything in my opinion, though I wasn't there. Based on the fact that the frame is in really nice shape and the rear tail panel support's in nice shape. Car's got a really nice sheen, great reflection to the paint. You can see me in the reflection. I'm probably 3 to 4 feet away. Just a little bit of orange peel, nothing unusual. Looks very nice, very period looking. Plenty of clear was used. Small hairline crack right here. It may not be on my exploded view. Bumpers are in real nice shape, front and rear. Some general patina on the front. Some small hairline, various scratches here and there. Little rub mark right here. And then if you again look for the bonding strip, you can kind of see that subtle line traveling up here. No small circular swell marks. And again, really good lines, doors close nice. On the glass on both sides, the units appear to be original. There's a small chip along the edge right here, and a couple just small lines, marks, nothing horrible. The other piece of glass has similar wear. A few small polishing scratches on the A-pillar uprights. I'm coming around this side of the car. We're looking pretty good, except we've got a little hairline crack in the paint there. And again, that's a nice flat surface. I'm about 2.5, 3 feet away. And then we've got some circular scratches right in this area. Might not be easy to see. And those may or may not wheel out. Up here there's a little polishing kind of a mark right in here. And I think that'll rub out. And there was one small one up here, and I think that'll rub out. I can't feel any of it. But here you are from 5 feet away. Looks pretty swell, huh? All right, we just pushed it over to the doorway here. We got a lot of snow last night. Can you give me a cold start when you get a minute, please?
Okay.
Exhaust sounds pretty good, no smoking. I think we're going to need to back it out a little bit because I think the exhaust is blowing right back in the building. We're going to have to back her up because the exhaust is coming right back in the building. Jason Phillips from Appraise. We're going to wrap up a pre-purchase inspection. We're going to let this car run. I'll put it in gear, check out all the turn signals, headlights, etc. Brake torque it a little bit once it warms up. Hey, can you give me the headlights, please? And the brights. Thank you. Just the turn signals. Thanks. Parking lights. Got it. Okay, there's our parking lights. Brake lights. Oh, I guess we had brake lights on. Okay, gotcha. Turn signals. Thanks. Can you drop that idle down a little bit? Give me reverse lights. Probably not warmed up yet. Okay, no reverse lights. Okay, thanks. All right, drive a seat. So the tilt and telly, not too much wobble or play in that steering knuckle. That bearing feels pretty good. Tachometer is reading. All pressure gauges up there nice, 70-ish pounds. Temperature still down below 100, so we'll kind of watch that and see what happens.
Ear candy, a good kind of trilogy.
Let's go kill some sharks!
And not like a
All right. Let's check out our wiper door. Okay, wiper door raises and lowers. Looks like it fits okay. Horn works. Wipers sweep, although they're a little bit, switch is a little bit sensitive. Might need the contacts cleaned up. I'd see if this override switch works. And it does. May hear a little bit of an exhaust pipe rattling against the back of the car. Clock is inoperative. Temperature's coming up. We'll let that run for another 15-20 minutes and see what happens. engaging. I know if I throw my foot in the pedal, I'm just going to spin on the snow here, but transmission's engaging and disengaging as it should. Alright, I'm going to let it run for a while. 00417, that's going to stay the same. Jason from Auto Appraise, we're going to do a heat up here and see what we can come up with. Alright, so Jason Phillips from Auto Appraise wrapping up an inspection. We let this car sit outside and run for 15, maybe 16 minutes more. Let's see what we got here. Oil pressure still holding up pretty good. 45-50 pounds. Temperature looks real nice. Not moving very far at all. We are running out of gas. Idle still up around 1,000, 1,100. Might need to be dropped down just a little bit. The headlamp light is operational, but our fiber optic lights don't see really anything connecting there, which is not uncommon. It's a really nice Survivor interior, leather interior. If one was looking for a driver, I don't think you'd do anything to the inside of this car. Engine seems to run good. I'm going to make the presumption that it drives down the road good. The suspension looked pretty tight. I didn't see any major old collision damage. I think any restoration work or repair work that was done on the car was done in a nice way. Doors closed super nice. Tonneau cover lifts, raises and lowers. Hood raises and lowers nicely. It's a really, really nice looking car out here as the sun's going down. The small body and paint and cracks, they don't really, they don't jump out at you at a short distance. There might be just a subtle exhaust leak. But overall, it's a really nice looking repaint on what appears to be a numbers matching base 270 horse turbo 400 automatic car. So if that is what you're looking for, this is what it is. Got a pretty good normal toe-in squat from the rear end. Nothing too unusual there. Thanks for hanging out for this afternoon. Sorry that we can't drive them today, but it'd be a fun one to drive, I'm sure. Have a great day. Thanks.